You are about to create with L'Expression Creative Studios, where you create as you are. Follow us on social media. Today we are talking about KWANZA. So happy KWANZA everybody, and let's get cracking on this beautiful art piece with pastels. So KWANZA is basically a representation for the whole entire African diaspora about 7 values that are important. Umoja, which is unity of the people. Kujishagulia, which is self-determination, doing things on your own, being motivated and getting it done. Ujima, collective work and responsibility, being together in creating, in getting things done. Ujama, which is cooperative economic, gathering our wealth together to do better and to improve and to go somewhere. We have Nia, which is our purpose as a people. Where are we going? Our direction. Kumba is what we're doing today, creativity. Let's be creative as a people together. And Imani, which is the faith in ourselves, faith in higher powers, and faith in the future. Those 7 principles are represented by these 7 candles to remember values that support the Black family and empowers it. KWANZA was invented by Dr. Maulana Karanga, who was an activist, author, and a professor of Africana Studies. He invented KWANZA in 1966 to help all African descendants reconnect with their original African identity. KWANZA is celebrated right after Christmas and lasts 1 week, 1 candle for each day. Now let's get ready to create. Prepare your material. We will be using your pastels, a pencil, an eraser, your canvas, a ruler, paper towel, and obviously your creativity. So when you're ready, let's get started. We will be working for about an hour and 15 minutes, and we recommend these musics for you. So let's get ready with your colors. We will be using orange, yellow, red, green, black, blue, and purple. If you have several of these colors from dark to light, that's even better. Now let's get ready to measure. You will be creating this large box at the top of your canvas in horizontal. And in this large box, we'll be writing the word KWANZA. And if you notice, I use my fingers to sort of approximate the size that I want. Feel free to use any size that you feel like. I'm using my ruler now to sort of outline the box to help me with the tracing of the letters. I'm also using my fingers to sort of visualize where the 7 letters will be. Feel free to measure very specifically if you'd rather do that. I'm tracing the letters lightly so that there is no clear visual of the letters with the pencil. Notice that I have for you here on the right bottom hand side the finished product, so you can always go back and verify what it is that we're doing. Now I'm starting to trace boxed letters, so large letters composed of, rectangles and triangles, as large as the page allows me. And then I will be able to sort of finalize them at the end. So first try to do a large sketch to see where the letters are landing. And if you need to modify, then go ahead and do so. It's perfectly fine as well to use any type of design. If you feel like doing a different type of design with your letters, then do so as well, right? Just as long as you remember that there's two A's to Kwanzaa and that you're trying to illustrate that word all across the page in big, because that's, I guess, the theme of today. Now I'm using my eraser to clean up my letters, to readjust and clear all the extra lines that might be showing up through the pastel later. As you can see here, I'm reshaping my A. It's a little bit too small to my taste. So go ahead, and this is the time to do that, to reshape, readjust, and change a little bit. Now notice that I have not done this with the ruler to the exact measure. I didn't really mind that my letters would be shaped a little bit differently. But if you'd rather use the ruler so that it's all squared and nice, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the letters as they are at this point. And now I'm going to start creating the space, sort of the light box, where I'm going to put the candle holder and the candles. And if you notice, I'm using at about the middle of the first A and the middle of the Z as a space to start drawing this. So I'm tracing lightly right below the N, the A, and the Z, using about a 2-finger distance to the letters. I'm using that to start the candle holder. And it's about the size of my hand as well. But you can use any size as well. If you want to make them bigger or smaller, that's up to you. Now the candle holder is sort of a shape that is a little bit smaller at the base, with an inverted U in the middle of the feet of that candle holder. So now let's start the candles. There are 7 candles, as you know, on the Kwanzaa scene. The first candle will be in the middle, touching the N if you want to keep that. Right now I'm starting using my finger, but it didn't work out for me, so I had to sort of erase that. Find a measure that works for you so that the candles are actually evenly spread. So start by the one in the middle, which will be the black candle. Trace 3 of them to the side. You can use your ruler or not, depending on how you want to feel that drawing. and then adjust the size of these candles as you go. Now, candles glow, so we're going to create a little glow effect by just applying a circle right above each candle. And then we'll fill that in with a blend of colors when we're ready. So I'm tracing these circles, cleaning up the lines also in the middle of the candles. And then I will be adding the little flame in the middle of the glow as well. So there we go with a little squiggly shape for the flame. Now you can take different forms and shape according to what you want. You may want to make it bigger if you feel like it. I felt like making it rather small, but you're welcome to make bigger flames if that's what floats your boat. Okay, so readjust, maybe Google some shapes to try to decide a little bit how the flame is going to look like. Here I'm going to be using my eraser to clear all the lines, the boxes that I have traced, and also, make the letters lines lighter so they don't show up too much through the paint. Now we're going to start setting up for our characters. And what I'm showing you here is that I'm going to place the heads at about the height of the little candle holder, and in the middle of the second A, and in the middle of the W for the two parents' head. So we are representing a family, and we're going to start by the parents first. So as you can see, the one parent's head is a little bit below the W at the level of the candle holder table, while the head of the other parent is under the A at the level of the candle holder as well. Once you have a good sense of where the heads are going to be, you can start shaping. And so as you can see, I shaped the forehead, the nose, and just the lips. And also I shaped the back of the head as just like an S. So take your time. This one part might not be easy at first if you're not used to draw faces, profile faces. And it's okay to try again and again until you get it right. Just erase and retrace as needed. On the other side, for the other parent, I've decided to put a female figure with lots of hair and jewelry. You can decide to do it this way or do it another way, whichever way you feel more comfortable. And the same way, instead of having an S on the neck, actually, I just added an afro with lots of hair. Go ahead and trace and retrace until you feel comfortable with the shape of the face that you have. I'm now starting the section of the bodies, and as you can see, we have these large sort of dresses, clothing that look more like triangles with round bottoms. And so tracing here with my hand allows me to sort of visualize how it's going to look like. And so I'm going to go ahead and start tracing. I start by the shoulder. It's easier. It gives me sort of a direction for the back and for the front. I'm checking with the center of the foot of the candle to decide where these clothings are going to meet. I'm using about a finger length to decide where it will stop, and I'm joining the two clothing. Now I'm joining from the bottom up in this curved way to just create this beautiful clothing movement of the family joining together. Readjust every time you need as well. Now we're trying to trace the children, and so I'm gonna look at putting the heads right below the feet of the candle holder, trace and retrace as needed. And for them, we are only doing the face and a part of the shoulders. I am now doing the same sketching as the parents for the profile and trying to stay as close to the shapes that I have done for the parents as well. Trace that S at the back for the neck, or trace the hair. And you can decide to have boy, boy, girl, girl, boy, girl, whichever way you want. You can also add more kids if you feel like so. If you want to represent your own family, that's absolutely fine as well. Now on to the last part of our sketch. We are now tracing lines from parent to parent, sort of following this curvy pattern as well. You can start from the left side or the right side and trace as many lines as you want. The more separated the line, the bigger the squares. The closer the lines, the smaller the squares on your quilt. Do the same on the opposite direction for the other parents in order to trace this quilt pattern. I'm also adding a few effects on the back of the clothing. Feel free to add more or less line at the backs or add different lines at different places. But these will be the basics. So we're done with our sketch, and let's try to move on now to using color. I'm going to use yellow and orange for this part. If you can, use several shades of yellow and several shades of orange. Some lighter, some darker. Starting by the lighter yellow, I'm going to trace half of the letters. So all of the letters will be having light yellow at the bottom for each letter. You do not have to be very neat with this process. Just remember that oil pastels can be quite messy on your fingers and on the page. I actually really like that feeling and that process. So your letters do not need to be very pristine and very neat because we will be blending and adding different colors at different places in those letters. So don't be afraid, you don't have to be extremely neat. First use the lighter yellow. Don't hesitate to clean up your pastels. As I said, it's messy. You can use your paper towel or your fingers for that in order to get a nice angle or, a cleaner color. Now I'm going to use the light orange and basically finish up the letters by coloring the top of the letters. Notice that next I'm going to avoid the glow of the candles and just try to trace right above it. Even though the letters can also be seen between the candles, I'm just going to color slightly the top. Now I'm using my darker yellow to blend a little bit right at the edge between the light yellow and the light orange. I'm also using the light yellow to continue the blending. So just use the lighter colors and blend wherever, sorry, it keeps breaking, but that's normal. And just keep blending in the middle so that the mixing of the colors looks smooth and transitions well. I am now going to grab the darker orange to start working on my background. So it might look red on this video, but it's actually just darker orange, not red. Now, if you feel like using red, you can, but we have some red in the rest of the picture and the clothing, and that might just blend. So try to use a darker orange and start filling in all around your letters and also around your candle glow. I'm using the lighter yellow for the candle glow in the middle, and it's going to blend a little bit. That's perfectly fine. Now this part is going to take a while. Trace around all of your letters with your darker orange. It's not going to be very neat, but again, it's okay because we will be blending later. I am now taking my pastel instead of the pointy side, using it to the side, so on the long side. This allows me to save some time and cover more ground faster, and then I will go back and add more color as I go. So you can go ahead and use it to the side and cover a lot and then come back so that there is no white visible through the page. As you notice, I'm leaving a little bit of space between the orange and the actual clothing so that I can add yellow later. Now I'm using my paper towel or my finger to blend. So this allows me to start covering more with the color so that there's no white space. And I'm first going to do that all around and then add more color later. Now I'm using more orange and my fingers to really cover any extra space. I'm going to do that around the letters and then within the whole background. As you go, start retouching some of the letters so that the blending can happen and look even better. Don't hesitate to use your lighter color to help with the blending. Now we'll be using our red, and with our red we'll do the candles. So the 3 candles to the left, the dress of the parent on the right side, the child's clothing on the left side, and maybe a couple of squares in the quilt. This will not look very neat, but again, we will be blending later and fixing it a little. I'm now attacking with my green, and as you notice, I have several shades of green. Play with that. It makes everything look better. You can blend these greens, start by one and cover with another one. I'm doing the candles to the right side. I'll be doing the clothing of the parent to the left side, the kid to the right side, and also a few of the squares in the quilt. I'm adding a few details to the face of the parent to the right side, which is a big earring with some space. You can also use your pencil to add more details when we will be using the black for the faces and the lines. I'm going with the black now and making sure it's clean. I will now start on the faces and the different lines, as well as the candle holder table and the central candle. Once you're satisfied with the faces, the lines with your pencil, you can go ahead and start tracing the lines for all of the clothing. I am now satisfied with my lines, and what I'm doing here is imitating the glow of this warm candlelight around which the family is gathered. So I'm going to start by adding yellow between the children and sort of expand outward more color, more yellow all around. Now you will notice that some streaks of black will be blending with the yellow, and that's actually, to my opinion, pretty charming. I'm not directly touching, however, for now, the black lines with the yellow so that I can have a clean yellow wherever I need to go. But then I will come back later and sort of join them a little bit more. And some blending will happen at that point, but that's perfectly okay. And you can always go back with your paper towel or with your hands as well to blend. Notice that I go around the heads. I also go behind the candles. I will go a little bit around the back, but then we'll add more orange. Now I come in with my orange to come closer to the black lines and do a little bit of blending as well. So don't be afraid, a certain amount of mixing is going to happen between the orange and the black, and that's fine. I'm also finishing around the back, adding more orange to the background. I will come back, as you will see, more and more on the orange for the background until there is really no more white spaces visible. At this point, I'm coming back to the yellow, and that will help me do this beautiful blending between the darker orange and the yellow. And I'm trying to finish some of those little white spaces around the characters. I now have a pretty good finished product. I'm going to be using my pencil to highlight the light in the candle a little bit more and finish up some details on the faces. I'm using my finger to do some more blending so that there is really no white space left. This makes also things look a lot smoother, and it's kind of fun to do, I must admit. We're now close to the end of our process, and I invite you to use any color that you are interested in using in the quilt. Make squares of different colors, separate the colors so it doesn't look like big blobs. The more colors, I think, the better, but that's my opinion. You can decide to use whatever color suits you for that part. So the first thing we'll be doing is just adding squares of colors following the pattern that we have created. And then we will be adding black lines later once we are done with all the colors. Don't hesitate to use your paper towel to chase away any extra that are coming from the oil pastel. Colors might mix a little and blend into each other, but that looks great. I absolutely love that. So don't be afraid of that. It actually will look better. And when you start adding your black line, this will sort of highlight each color, and the streaks that you observe will be visible a little bit less because of that highlight. I am now done with this quilt. Let's finish up with the lines and follow the patterns that we have. You can shake your drawing to take off the excess. As you can see, I have quite a bit. And this looks beautiful, vibrant, full of colors. I absolutely love that. You can use your paper towel to take off some of the extra excess as well. This might create more streaks, which, I don't mind, but up to you. You can blow on your drawing to take off some of these extras as well. Remember that your fingers can get very dirty, so you might want to be careful about that. It goes away with soap and water very well. Finishing sub touches. And congratulations! Thank you for following us. Thank you for hanging in there with drawing. Pat yourself on the back. I'm proud of you. I hope to see you in any of our extra lectures. You've just created with L'Expression Creative Studios, where you create as you are.